Amen. Pastor Jesse here of a Living God Service, talking about the two powers. Don't resist the powers that there are, because they are ordained of God. There's a power on the earth. It's called government. All right? Now that doesn't mean, you submit to government and you deny Christ and you just submit to government and they tell you not to teach Christ. Because the same people who teach you to submit to government, which was Peter, if you look, you can find that in 1 Peter, how he says to obey, that teaches how to obey the government. He doesn't tell you to, if they say, don't pray, don't worship, because the same man that taught it, he also went into the temple when the rulers told him not to. Okay, so he himself obeyed the voice from heaven. All right, so there's a voice on earth and a voice on heaven, in heaven, and so God has commanded the voice of Christ, which speaks through the church, to shake both heaven and earth. The voice from heaven that speaks, he shakes heaven and earth. He shakes the church, the religious, the saved, and the unsaved. That's why sometimes you feel like you're being shaken or chastened. That's while you're in church, you're saved, and you're like, man. All right, well, that's the apostolic authority. The apostolic authority is, and the prophetic authority, they're shaking you. The one is speaking from God, and one is speaking on earth, and sometimes they seem to be contrary. Because one is saying there's grace, and the other one is saying, basically manipulating you. It seems like manipulation, but it's not. That's why now it can be, an evil worker will manipulate you, but there's also good workers that they're not trying to manipulate you, but that's just the way it is. And I'm going to show you an illustration. I am a school bus driver. I was a school bus driver. I say I am a school bus driver because I did it for so long. I still have a license. Legally, I can drive a school bus. But I have to go to the school and go through their test. Go to the school bus driving company, pass their tests and their requirements, prove myself, and I can legally get into a bus and drive students today. I know how to do it, and I still have a license to do it. So I'm a school bus driver. I can manage kids because I'm a school bus driver. But so what I learned very early on as a school bus driver, I would get into, at first you start out as a substitute driver. You don't have your own route, so you're driving other people's routes, other school bus drivers' routes for them. And as soon as I would get on the bus, I was like, wow, this is so peaceful, so quiet. These kids are so good, because the other school bus driver had them in check, so to speak. All right, and by the rules of the bus, and through consequence of fear of punishment, all these kids were in subjection. All of them. They were very it was just a beautiful bus ride driving it, wow, these kids ain't giving me no problems. They're not, there's nobody picking on each other. They're all seated where they're supposed to be seated. They're just quietly talking to their neighbor. They're not jumping up out of the seats, standing on the seats, throwing things out the window. They're not doing all these things. And then I would do something. I would get on the loudspeaker and I would tell the kids, you are doing an excellent job. You kids are great. I really appreciate you. I'm going to tell your parents and I'm going to tell the school, how good of a job you're doing so you can get a reward. Biggest mistake I ever made. ruined the rest of my bus ride. All of a sudden, the kids were jumping up out of the seats, running down the aisles, tagging each other, hitting each other, constantly telling me, bus driver so-and-so hit me. Oh, no, I didn't. They hit me first. Oh, man. I'm pulling over. You kids need to sit down. You're distracting me. I'm going to wreck this bus if you don't stop. You need to understand, young, kids, young children, that I have to pay attention to the road, and that is for your safety. I don't understand. I just told you that you were doing a good job. Why would you change all of a sudden, and now you're doing a bad job? The reason is, I found out later, this is the reason. Because there's a 3-strike rule on a school bus. And when you get to strike 3, you get suspended off the bus. All the kids know this. So the way they see it is they have 2 strikes to go through before they actually get punished. And so the bus driver always keeps them on strike 3. Always. Fear of punishment, fear of punishment, fear of punishment. Strike 3 and you're out. One strike, you're okay, you still get to keep swinging. Second strike, you still get to keep swinging, you're okay. But if this 3rd strike, if you miss the ball, if you miss the mark, which is what the Bible considers sin, if you miss the mark the 3rd time, you're out, you're through, you're done, it's over. Boom, punishment is coming. You go sit on the bench. You just lost for the whole team in front of everybody. Everybody was watching you. You had 3 strikes to do it, but now you're out. All right? And that's a big spiritual teaching, okay? And it's a good teaching. That's a power. It's a power that the apostles use, or the apostolic power, the pastoral power that they use to keep the bus in line, to keep the children who are under the Father, you have spiritual fathers, keep you in line, to keep you doing what pleases God, what pleases Him. Because like I showed you in one of my videos here, verily, Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 9, furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us and we gave them reverence. Okay, these bus drivers, they corrected us and we gave them reverence. But when the new bus driver came, he told us we were doing a good job, and now all of a sudden we've got 2 strikes to go through. We're not reverencing Him or God anymore. Now we're breaking all the rules. We got another strike to go through, and whenever the umpire lets us know that we missed, now the umpire strike 2, strike 1, and then you don't want to hear strike 3, you're out of here. All right? So that's where the power comes from. Now we have to learn to listen to the voice of heaven, and then we won't hear the strikes. We're always going to swing, bam, we're going to make connection with that ball, and we're going to run the bases. Now we have another power. We're obeying what our Father said. We're not hearing, He doesn't say strike 1. We're running the bases. Okay? That's why Apostle Paul said to strive lawfully, those of the mastery. He's talking about Olympic Games. Whenever you strive lawfully, if you want to win, you have to strive lawfully. Because if you hit the ball out of bounds, it's a foul ball. It wasn't a strike. It was a foul. You get another swing. All right? Anyways. So he says, which corrected us and gave them reverence, shall we not much more rather be in subject unto the Father of spirits? Now he's saying that if we obey God, we don't have to worry about as much as obeying our Father, because that's what our Father, spiritual Father, is trying to get us to do, is obey God. When we obey God, we please both God and our spiritual Father. And live, because there's a difference between living according to faith and living according to the law. Now we need both. But, so you see, all right, I'm going to get into some more after this. God bless you.